medicinal cannabis in my blood. Yes, that's right. If you've been following my videos recently, you might have known that I wasn't feeling particularly well. I hadn't slept in a week. And this is because I've been a contaminated blood victim since a kid. And as a result of fighting to stay alive, I've been very fortunate in that way. I've lived longer than a lot of other people in my category, a lot of friends from our group that have died. But yeah, I've had this advancing neurological condition that I was telling people about. And what had happened was I'd run low on my prescription, which meant that I was feeling the full force of all of my conditions, and not least this neurological condition, which gets in my way of going to the bathroom and walking normally and eating normally. And it makes me feel nauseous, 24 hours a day. It gives me a migraine. And it actually stops blood flow. And I think you can see today what happened was, last night, having not slept practically for, I think it was 4 days without sleep, I went rummaging through my medicinal cabinet and actually did find a small little bit of medicinal cannabis oil that I had left over, which I didn't know was there. So it was an absolute blessing. And so I took it last night and I got 6 hours sleep. It was my first 6 hours sleep basically in many days. And so I'm feeling much, much better today. And I just want to talk to you about, medicinal cannabis. Now, medicinal cannabis is far more available overseas than it is in Australia. I think, medicinal cannabis is a bit of a sham in Australia. For example, this little bit of what they call cannabis flower or weed, that I use in an inhaler. This costs twice as much for a patient like me who was basically given contaminated blood knowingly as a kid. I'm a victim of a crime. And yet I have to pay, what's this cost? Hundreds and hundreds of dollars for this stuff. And it just becomes, what it means is people like myself, we have to ration it. And when I ration it, it means that I don't sleep, I don't walk properly, I don't eat properly, and I'm in agony. And part of that agony is, migraines 24 hours a day. So I tried to get in to see a neurologist, and I've been trying for the last year. But what's happened with Australia's public health system is, I think, because of all of the chaos that COVID has caused, it's really hampered our health system. For example, even though I've got headaches, searing headaches 24 hours a day, and even though, I should be entitled to an MRI scan, thus far I haven't been able to get one, and thus far I haven't been able to get in to see a neurologist. A year to wait to see a neurologist with the conditions that I have, I'm sorry, that's no longer first world, it's just not. And the Australian public healthcare system, what is it? Is it second world now? I mean, people like Australia's Health Minister Greg Hunt and some of ththese states' premiers and health ministers would disagree. They'd say, oh, well, we've spent billions on big pharma and we do all of this sort of thing. Well, I don't consider that an indication of first world health. I consider being denied an MRI scan on my brain when I was vomiting for a week and I had 24-hour headaches, and when my legs don't work and my muscles don't work, and when I can't sleep, and clearly there's something going on neurologically. I mean, I could have a brain bleed or a stroke. They know that. And I'm being denied these things. It's not good enough. Anyway, the good news is that I was able to get some medicinal cannabis, and today I've got blood flow. My hands are working. I don't have to have any painkillers. Hallelujah. I hate those things. I hate pharmaceutical drugs. If I can avoid them, I will. I really do. I want to protect my liver. For so many contaminated blood victims, they end up getting cancer and things like that, and cirrhosis of the liver and stuff like that. And I've been fortunate thus far, although I've got these other problems neurologically, I've been fortunate in that I have not yet had cancer of the liver. And pharmaceutical drugs, they can be quite toxic on the liver, and that's why I want to avoid them if possible and only use clean things. And the beauty of medicinal cannabis is that it doesn't damage my liver, and yet it takes away all of these symptoms, and it helps me walk. Now, I've only got a touch left, and I'm hoping maybe I could be well enough to be able to walk tomorrow at the march that's happening, the Millions March, the march in Sydney. I'd love to be there because I've missed out on the other ones through bad health. So what's amazing, without medicinal cannabis, I walk like I don't walk well. I'm like I've got mad cow's disease. Anyone would think I'm on my last legs, and I feel like it. But then, once I get the right kind of medicinal cannabis, it can't be any kind of cannabis. If people were having a party and they were doing something naughty, like smoking a joint or something recreationally, I wouldn't partake. And the reason for that is I'd have to know where that cannabis came from. Is it the right kind? The only kind that works for my muscles and works for me is what's called the indica kind. I'm no expert on medicinal cannabis. I'm hoping to learn more as this prescribed medication becomes more widely available, and we know more in Australia. But yeah, if I get the right kind, it helps my muscles work, and it helps blood flow, and I actually feel normal. And it made me think, about, I don't know, this might sound crazy, but it made me think of the 1980s cartoon show Transformers, not the movies with Mark Wahlberg. Remember that show? Transformers, robots in disguise, change before your eyes. That's how I feel. It feels like when I don't have this medicine, I'm the pilot of a big robot. I'm inside this body, right? And it's like malfunctioning. And like, I can't even go to the toilet, I can't walk, but it's weird. And you put this medicinal cannabis in, and then, hours later, and after a night's sleep, I'm moving and talking and thinking, and I'm me. I'm back to me. It's just marvelous. And so I wanted to share the good news. Now, I don't know if I'll have enough for over the weekend, and it's, as I explained, my pharmacy, the prescription's very difficult to handle for many pharmacies because of the over-regulated system that we have in Australia for medicinal cannabis. This is Australia's Health Minister, Greg Hunt. He's a corrupt devil of a man. Basically, yeah, they're doing everything they can to stop people like me, terminally ill and chronically ill. They're putting every obstacle in our way, to properly use this medicine. And hopefully in the future that will change, and hopefully we get a new health minister. Greg Hunt, what a terrible man. He's covering up what happened to me and others, children like me. I'm a former child survivor of contaminated blood, and we've got a health minister that's covering up Australia's deadliest medical scandal. So what help for medicinal cannabis when you have a health minister who's engaging in crime? And I mean that. I actually mean that. Children were knowingly given contaminated blood products. We've got that evidence, and I actually would like to make a criminal complaint against Australia's health minister as soon as it can be possibly arranged. Okay, I'm talking to my lawyers about that. We've got the evidence. Enough's enough. But for today, I'm very much hoping that if my health improves, I could be able to march. Now, I think what's going on, having been denied an MRI, and it's taking like a year to see a neurologist, I've sort of been doing some reading. I've been talking to my new GP, and we're wondering whether it could be damage to what's called my myelin sheath. Now, what on earth is a myelin sheath? Here are some pictures of this myelin sheath. Okay, so all right then, well, what I'll do is I thought I might read out what on earth it is. It says here on the internet, if the internet can be believed, via Medline Plus, the medical encyclopedia, say myelin is an insulating layer or sheath that forms around nerves, including those in the brain and spinal cord. It is made up of protein and fatty substances. This myelin sheath allows electrical impulses to transmit quickly and efficiently along the nerve cells. If myelin is damaged, these impulses slow down. Okay, so there is the myelin sheath, and if that is damaged, okay, worn away, scarred, right, then you're going to have problems with your brain, okay, spinal cord, where this thing sits, communicating with you, with your body. This is why sometimes, like, I can feel like I need to go to the bathroom. It'll never happen. It'll take half an hour or something. I'm sorry for the graphic detail, but this is my life. Sorry. And when I want to walk, I've been at a supermarket and I think, okay, I'm going to walk down the stairs now, and suddenly my legs don't work, and my body top half of my body is too heavy for my legs, which are malfunctioning, and I nearly fall down a flight of stairs. Okay, and I can't do that because I've got a bleeding disorder. So a broken bone or a broken leg, yeah, I bleed to death. So yeah, I need to do something about this. And so it's very interesting to me. If there's anyone out there that knows about motor neuron diseases or neurological problems or anything like that, please get in touch if you know about medicinal cannabis too. Why? Because if it is my myelin sheath that's being attacked by my immune system or by the viruses that I have as a result of contaminated blood, then what's amazing is apparently medicinal cannabis works well. And obviously it does, because it literally just, it takes it off. Now, some of the feeling that I've lost isn't coming back, it seems. And I think that might be permanent. But hey, I'm happy. I'm happy. We've had a lot of people die from our group, a lot of contaminated blood victims. In my time campaigning, we've lost something like 600 people that were with our group. So it's really bad. So yeah, I'm feeling fortunate. Okay, I put it in perspective. But yes, I'm very interested in this myelin sheath business. Could it be that this cannabis is basically taking away this problem that's attacking and helping my brain and helping my spinal cord communicate? And I'm crossing my fingers, but very hopefully the effect of cannabis, medicinal cannabis, you know, the vaping and the oil, will mean that I can join these other wonderful people who've been so courageous in standing up for Australia. And tomorrow they're going on an amazing march, and they've stand up and they've spoken up. And I think the general consensus is we want Australia back. You know, I love Australia, and I think we all do. It's a fantastic country, obviously. You know, we're the envy of the world in many respects, apart from the current weather that we've got here in Sydney, which is a bit rainy and drizzly, a bit like England. And we don't want their weather. Nice people, and you know, all the rest of it. But yeah, we don't want their weather here. So yeah. So but tomorrow, hopefully, the weather will be supportive of a wonderful march, and I hope to be well enough. We'll see. If not, I know I'll join them another time. But I wish everyone well, and we want our country back. We just want things back to how they were. You know, I'm fed up with this stuff. The idea that, you know, this is completely flawed. The idea that wearing these masks everywhere we go is going to prevent transmission of something like COVID-19. And in fact, actually, I think it could cause more harm than good. There's evidence that this can actually damage the bacteria. If you know anything about, you know, beneficial gut bacteria, it's an important new area of medical research today. Well, we've also got mouth bacteria, and there's evidence that that could be causing long-term problems, particularly for children as well. No, not good enough. Very against children having to wear these, by the way. Very against children in schools. I think that's an absolute offence. Okay, I really do. Child abuse, not good. Not good, Australia. So I really hope we can get our country back. Australia is a free and easy place, a wonderful place, and so I'm feeling much better. If you've hung around for this talk on the power of medicinal cannabis in my blood and what it can do for people like me, as I said, for people with you know, neurological problems or, you know, conditions like that, then great. I hope it's been beneficial, and I hope, as I say, my health continues to improve. Thank you very much. And once again, if you could tell people to go to our bio and click on that link supporting a Royal Commission of Inquiry into Australia's contaminated blood scandal, I'd be very appreciative, as would victims in our group, many of whom are bedbound now, the survivors, and many of whom desperately need answers as to what went wrong, and we desperately need more medical help. Okay, currently Australia's Health Minister Greg Hunt denies us the services that contaminated blood victims get in Canada, in Ireland, or now in the United Kingdom. That's criminal. And the only reason he's denying these basic services, the reason why he's not managing, the reason why he's indifferent to us, is because Greg Hunt knows that if he acknowledges Australia's deadliest medical scandal, contaminated blood, he'll quite likely be out of a job, because and maybe even facing criminal problems, because he's not responded, he's not acted, and there are tens of thousands of Australians that have been infected and affected. So Greg Hunt, you're in serious trouble, and I'd suggest a few of the autocrats and, you know, these dictators like wannabe dictators like Victoria's Premier Daniel Andrews and the disgraceful Premier Dominic Perrottet, who lied to us. Lied to the people of New South Wales about opening up and restoring freedoms. Yeah, it's time. It's time for us to say no more from these people, and it's time for us to have our country back. Yeah, thank you very much, and please support our inquiry. Thank you.